In this video, we're going to talk about some Facebook Live best practices, and these are as recommended by Facebook. Now, the first thing that Facebook recommend is that you let people know ahead of time when you're going to broadcast. And this is a very good idea because obviously you want to get as big an audience as possible, and it's not like you publish a TV guide or something. So you want to let people know ahead of time when you're going to broadcast. Now, there are lots of ways that you can do this. I suppose the easiest way is via Facebook itself, to let your Facebook friends, let your Facebook followers know that you're going to be broadcasting via Facebook Live so that they can log in and watch your video at the time it's going to go out. You can also do a shout out to your followers on Twitter. And if you're aiming at a business audience, then probably making a post to your followers on LinkedIn would be a good idea as well. Something else that you can do is to send an email to your list, of course, just like you would if you were holding a webinar or something like that. You would send an email to your list to let them know, and you can do that for Facebook Live and encourage them to sign up. And of course, you should post the date and time on your blog so that your blog followers can tune in. And also anybody who happens to find your blog through an internet search can also log in and find out when your broadcast is going out. You should also go live when you have a strong connection. Now, Wi-Fi tends to work best. But if you can't find a nearby network, then you'll want a 4G connection. Now, I know that 4G isn't available everywhere. In most countries, it's available just in large cities. But if you can find a 4G connection, then that's great. Otherwise, you'll want to have a Wi-Fi connection to stream that. And if you have a weak signal, the Go Live button will be grayed out, and you won't be able to broadcast. So you want to make sure that you've got that ahead of time before you start to do your broadcast. When you're planning when you're going to do it from, you want to make sure that it is somewhere where you're going to get a nice strong signal. You also want to write a compelling description before going live. And a great description will capture fans' attention and help them understand what your broadcast is all about. And that means they're more likely to watch it right through to the end, and they're more likely to hear your message in its entirety. You should also ask your viewers to follow you and receive notifications when you go live. So call out that your audience can tap on the follow button on live videos and videos that were live, and then opt in to get notifications the next time that you go live. So again, it gives them more notifications so that they'll know ahead of time when your broadcast is going to go out. And you want to say hello to commenters by name and respond to their comments. Because one of the great things about Facebook Live is that you can communicate with your audience. They can send you comments which you can read as you're making your video, and then you can respond to them in real time. And your audience will be thrilled to hear you mention their name and answer their questions when you're live. And you should broadcast for longer periods of time to reach more people. Because the longer you broadcast, the more people are likely to discover you, and they're going to invite their friends on Facebook to watch the video. Now, Facebook recommends that you go live for at least 10 minutes, and you can stay live for up to 90 minutes. So you've got a lot of scope there, a lot of time that you can use. And finally, Facebook recommend that you be creative and go live often. So you can try different types of broadcasts. Try giving a talk to camera, try giving a webinar, or a live-inar, really, I suppose you could call it, over Facebook Live. You could try a how-to, lots of different things just to keep your audience interested, to keep them coming back for more. Don't do the same thing over and over again, because that's just going to be boring. And you should go live frequently to keep your audience engaged. Out of sight is out of mind, so you want to make sure that people keep coming back for more and that they see something that's going to interest them every time. So there you go, just a few Facebook Live best practices. Facebook Live is a fantastic app, and it has lots of potential for the future, and it's definitely a wave that you want to ride. But it's not perfect. So in this video, I want to examine some of the downsides of Facebook Live. And I suppose the biggest downside is that it's live, so mistakes can't be edited out. So if you do or say something stupid, or if something goes wrong, then everyone is going to know about it. So there's no taking it back. There's no second chance to do it again and get it right, like you can do if you're getting a YouTube video together or something like that. And while you'll never avoid banana skins completely, you can lessen the chances of an encounter. And that's by following what I call the 3 R's. Rehearse, rehearse, and rehearse. So you want to practice in front of a mirror until you've got your delivery perfect, especially if you're not used to being on camera. And you want to practice the stuff that you're going to do in your videos until you've got the routine right down to a T, so that you know exactly what to do, and you've tried it so often and you've done it so often you could do it in your sleep practically, and then when you actually have to go ahead and do it live, then the chances of something actually going wrong are going to be reduced. Note I say reduced. Things might still go wrong, but you'll lessen the chances of that happening. Another downside to Facebook Live, again because it's live, there's no music or editing to your videos. So, as I was just saying, you can't edit out mistakes. And you can't build atmosphere through adding music. Lots of people like to add some music to their videos to build the right sort of atmosphere. Well, you can't do that really in any type of Facebook Live video. In fact, there's no post-production of any kind. It is what it is, and it goes out live, and what they see is what they get. In fact, the only way that you can have music in your videos is to have music being played in the background. But you must get the volume right though, or it could be distracting and drown out what you're trying to say. And this can be a big problem because chances are you're not going to be monitoring the sound as it's going out either. So you never really know exactly how it's going to sound unless somebody sends you a message saying we can't hear you, speak up, or something like that. You can, though, save your videos for editing later. You can save them to the camera roll option that you have on Facebook Live. And this means that you can post them on video sites like YouTube in a more polished format. You can also post them on your Facebook timeline as a video as well. So it does give you that flexibility. Another thing is it's so new that not many people know about it. And this is perhaps the biggest problem. It was only launched at the beginning of 2016. Initially, it was only available in the US and then only on Apple iOS. And it's being rolled out to other countries, and it's being rolled out on Android. But, of course, not every country has it. And of course, you also need a 4G signal or Wi-Fi for it to work properly, which is another big problem, especially getting 4G. I know that most large cities in the US have 4G. In other countries, that's a bit slower. In rural areas, well, it's just a distant dream, really. So you really do need to have a nice, strong Wi-Fi signal in order to use it if 4G isn't available. So again, that's a big problem. And you'll need to tell your followers and subscribers, especially those who aren't on Facebook, about the app as well as your content. And this makes double the workload because you've got to convince people to, first of all, sign up for Facebook if they're not already members, and then to install the software on their smartphones or to go to your Facebook page. You have to verify your Facebook page, and it's a lot of hassle. And so it makes a lot of workload for you. And, of course, because it's live, it's not always a convenient time for your viewers to tune in and see your broadcast, especially if they're in a different time zone. And this is something else, if you happen to have a video up on YouTube, well, people can log in and watch it at their convenience. If it's going out live, then of course they've actually got to be there at that time. And they've got to have their computer or their smartphone or their tablet device on at that particular moment. And finally, it's not available in every country in the world yet. It's being rolled out. I think it's in about 40 countries at the time that I'm making this video. It's across the US and it's in a lot of countries in Europe. But other places in the world, it's just simply not available. So if you have a far-flung audience, then they're not going to be able to see it at all. So there you go, just a few downsides to using Facebook Live. Facebook Live presents a range of opportunities for marketers, particularly for internet marketers. And I'm going to cover some of them in this video. Many marketers are already aware of the power of Facebook to build their brand, for audience awareness, and to create a buzz around product launches and so on. And of course, many marketers already harness the power of video on YouTube and other video sharing sites. Now, Facebook Live enables you to combine the best of both worlds and add an edge to the proceedings that comes from being live. This is happening right now. The thing is, though, not many people are using Facebook Live for internet marketing purposes at the moment. Now, mainly it's used for streaming personal stuff, stuff like this kid's birthday party that you can see on this phone. And this means that you're going to have a competitive edge over other marketers because not many marketers are using it. So you're going to be able to get out front and stay there. So when it comes to using Facebook Live for marketing purposes, your objectives are to, first of all, build a big audience of followers. And this is going to be in addition to those who already follow you on Facebook. And you want to build the trust of that audience. And the ways that you do that are by providing value and by being highly consistent. And really, this isn't much of a surprise. This is just what you would do on any other media. But what you want to do with Facebook Live is you'll want to get to the point where people are actively looking for your content and they're looking forward to seeing more of it. And because so much of the content on Facebook Live is rather amateurish right now, you can actually do this fairly easily. Simply come up with a format and make sure that the topic is nicely relevant to the nature of your niche. And you want to use the best production values that you can. So you want to make sure that the lighting is good, that the sound is good, that you've rehearsed your presentation, that you're not sort of umming and ahhing and that sort of thing, so that you can simply talk to the camera, or you can do the type of demonstration if you're doing a how-to video that makes you look really professional. So try to come up with a good theme and something to tie it all together, and it's going to keep your audience interested. And there are other opportunities with something like Facebook Live as well. And it doesn't hurt to add something that's more dynamic, or something that's more interesting, or something that just has a personal touch occasionally. So to put it another way, take advantage of the medium. And if you have a following on Facebook already, then it's highly likely that they're going to be excited by the opportunity to see you live. They may have seen other videos that you posted on Facebook or on places like YouTube. They may have seen the pictures that you've got on Facebook, but to actually have you there talking to them live, they're going to be interested in that. They'll know then that you really are a real person. And it also means that you can make more dynamic and interesting content that's going to benefit from being live. Let me give you some examples. So, for example, if you have a travel blog and an associated Facebook page, then you can live stream from whatever exotic locations you happen to be at. And it'll be like people really are there with you at that moment because you're sharing that time with them. And of course, Facebook Live is interactive. People can send you questions and you can answer them live on air. So there does have that element to it. So it is really like they are there with you in whatever location that you've traveled to. Likewise, if you're in the fitness niche, you can do personalized training sessions where people can send you comments and questions as the session progresses. And it'll be just like having a personal trainer come into someone's home, and it could do wonders for building your brand and building your credibility, because if somebody sends you a question about how do I do this particular exercise, or let's say it's a yoga blog like this lady here, and someone sends in a message saying, how do you do this particular move or this particular position? And she could demonstrate it right there and then live. That's going to add tremendous credibility because people can see, yes, she does know what she's talking about, that sort of thing. And of course, you're going to combine this with strong branding on your website, a strong social media presence on Facebook and elsewhere, and promotional events that drive more people to your videos. Now, there's not much scope for direct sales via Facebook Live at present, but let's take a slightly different view here. Take a slightly, gaze into your marketing crystal ball for a moment and just have a think here. Now, Google's parent company, Alphabet, had net quarterly revenue of $5.25 billion in the first quarter of 2016. A hefty chunk of that came from selling advertising on YouTube and YouTube videos. Well, you can see where this is heading, can't you?